You know that feeling, right? You go to turn on your computer, maybe there's a click, a whir, then just black.
Oh, that sinking feeling. Dreadful.
Or maybe you get some weird error message.
Yeah.
And suddenly, everything, photos, work stuff, that massive spreadsheet you spent weeks on, it's just gone.
It's the modern nightmare, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it really brings us right to the core question for today's deep dive. How long does our digital stuff actually last?
Yeah, how long can we really count on it being there?
We've gone through all the research you sent in, the articles, the links, and it's clear. I mean, everyone is wondering about this. The real lifespan of digital memories, those critical files.
It's a big one.
So today, we're going to try to unpack some of that. Look at the surprising realities of how long data sticks around. Give you a clearer picture, hopefully.
But hang on, before we even get to how long the data might last on its own.
Ah, yes. The first step.
The absolute first step. Backups. It sounds obvious, but so many people think, yeah, I've got a backup. But the real question, the one that bites people is, when did you last actually test recovering something from that backup?
That's the crucial bit. It's no good having one if it doesn't work when you need it.
Exactly. You lose your main drive, you go to your backup, and you find out it hasn't been working properly for 6 months. That's the real disaster zone.
The abyss of despair, as you put it before we started.
Pretty much. So whether it's an external drive, a NAS, a cloud service, whatever you have to check that you can actually get your files back regularly, it's paramount.
Okay, so let's assume our listeners are diligent. They've got tested backups, maybe files copied across a couple of machines, something offsite in the cloud, recovery checked.
Good baseline. A sensible approach.
Now we can ask, those files you made years ago, the reference stuff, the family photos,
Yeah.
how long will they actually survive? Just sitting there.
Right. How long will the bits and bytes themselves hold up?
So how do we even start to measure that? Let's maybe break it down by storage type, starting with the old faithful, the hard disk drive, the HDD.
Spinning rust. Yeah.
It's been the workhorse forever. What's its, theoretical lifespan versus what happens in the real world?
Okay, so inside an HDD, you've got these spinning platters coated in magnetic material. Data is stored by changing the magnetic direction of tiny, tiny areas domains. Think like microscopic compass needles.
Zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones, exactly. Now, in theory, if you just powered off a drive and stored it perfectly, cool, dry, no shocks, no strong magnets nearby, those magnetic domains could hold their charge, hold the data for a surprisingly long time. Maybe 10 years, maybe even up to 100 years, some estimates say.
Wow, okay. That sounds pretty good.
But that's just the data layer, the magnetic imprint. The reality check comes from the drive itself.
That's physical hardware.
Yeah, the mechanics, you've got electronics, the read-write heads hovering nanometers above the platters, and critically, the spindle motor spinning those platters thousands of times a minute. Those physical parts, they have a much shorter lifespan.
How short are we talking?
Typically, you're looking at maybe 5 to 10 years of operational life. Now, if it fails mechanically, sometimes data recovery specialists can work magic, take the platters out, rebuild parts.
But that's expensive, right? And not guaranteed.
Very expensive and definitely not guaranteed. Plus, HDDs are vulnerable. Drop one, even a small knock while it's running. Bad news. Strong magnetic fields can scramble data. Humidity can cause corrosion over time.
Okay, so HDDs have their limits, mostly mechanical. What about the newer kid on the block? Solid-state drives, SSDs. They're in almost everything now. And you mentioned before their lifespan thing is different. It's not just about time passing.
Right. Completely different mechanism, completely different failure mode, really. With SSDs, it's not so much about aging, it's about wearing out.
Wearing out? How? No moving parts.
It's the flash memory cells themselves. Every time you write or erase data, it causes a tiny amount of wear and tear on the cell's insulating layer. Think of it like bending a piece of wire back and forth. Eventually, it breaks.
Ah, okay. So the more you write to it.
The shorter its lifespan.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's measured in write cycles or total bytes written, TBW.
Ah.
I actually had an SSD fail in a media server not long ago. No warning signs, no slow degradation like you sometimes get with HDDs. It just wasn't there anymore one morning.
Just gone.
Poof. 1 minute working fine, the next inaccessible. That kind of sudden, abrupt failure is pretty characteristic of SSDs when they reach their write limit or have another kind of internal failure.
So what's a realistic lifespan if you're not hammering it with writes, say for long-term storage?
If it's mostly read-only, maybe used for archival, you could reasonably expect maybe 10, perhaps up to 20 years. But again, environment matters.
Humidity.
Big time. High temperatures, say over 40, 50 degrees Celsius, are really bad for SSDs. They accelerate the leakage of the electrical charge stored in the cells, which is literally your data fading away. High humidity is also a problem. And while they're more shock resistant than HDDs, a hard knock can still damage internal components or connections.
That's kind of scary, the idea of it just wearing out or forgetting.
Yeah.
Makes you think differently about how you use them.
It does. It really does.
Okay, so HDDs have mechanical limits, SSDs wear out with writes. What about those shiny disks we all used to burn backups onto?
DVDs?
Rewritable ones, write-once ones, they feel kind of permanent?
Optical media. Yeah, they feel permanent, don't they? But again, it really varies. It depends hugely on the type of disk and critically how you store them.
Okay, break it down for us.
Right. Under ideal conditions, and I really mean ideal, dark, cool, dry, a standard single-layer recordable DVD might last, say, 5 to 10 years.
Not that long, actually.
Nope. Dual-layer disks? Maybe even a bit less, perhaps 4 to 8 years. The extra layer adds complexity. High-quality rewritable DVDs, the DVD-RWs, maybe you could push that to 15 years.
Okay, what about the write-once ones, DVD-R? Or factory-pressed ones like movies?
Those tend to be more stable. A good quality DVD-R or a stamped BVD-ROM stored perfectly, you might get 15, maybe even 25 years out of those.
Right, but you keep saying ideal conditions. What does that actually mean for a DVD?
It means keeping them cool, definitely below 30 Celsius, preferably lower, keeping the humidity down under 50% of relative humidity. And the absolute killer for DVDs is UV light. Sunlight, fluorescent lights, any intense light. The data on recordable DVDs is stored in an organic dye layer. UV light chemically breaks down that dye, basically bleaching your data away. Scratches are obviously bad. Fingerprints can cause issues. Even flexing the disk isn't great.
So handle with care, keep them in a dark box in a cool cupboard.
Pretty much. The upside is if you are using DVDs for your own long-term backups, you have total control over those conditions, right? Unlike
the cloud.
Yeah.
Where you're trusting someone else entirely.
Exactly. Which brings us to cloud storage. So many of us use it now. We delegate. We give our data to Google, Microsoft, Apple, Dropbox.
And we just assume it's safe and sound in some high-tech vault forever.
Right. And those companies do run massive, sophisticated data centers, storing data on an incredible scale. But there's this illusion that every file is instantly accessible, always spinning on some fast drive just waiting for you.
It's not the case.
Not always. The reality is, behind the scenes, they're constantly managing costs and resources. If you haven't accessed a file in months or years, it often gets moved off the expensive, fast storage.
And onto something slower and cheaper.
Precisely. Onto what they often call archival or even glacial storage tiers. It might take minutes or even hours to retrieve a file from there sometimes.
Makes sense from their perspective.
Totally. And there's a difference, too, between the consumer storage we buy and the enterprise-grade stuff they use internally, which is built for constant 24/7 access and costs a lot more.
So what are they using for that deep archive storage? Is it just massive hard drives?
Often, surprisingly, it's magnetic tape.
Tape, like cassette tapes.
Not quite. Think highly advanced, high-capacity data tape cartridges stored in huge robotic libraries. Robot arms whiz around, finding the right tape, loading it into a drive to read the data.
Wow. Okay, that sounds futuristic and old school at the same time. How long does tape last?
Impressively long. Properly stored, modern data tapes can have a lifespan of 20 to 30 years. And for pure archival purposes, in those ideal conditions, maybe even 50 years or more.
And what are ideal conditions for tape? Similar to DVDs.
Even stricter, ideally. Cool below 25 Celsius and dry below 45% relative humidity. Stable conditions are key.
So the cloud uses this mix of tech, including long-lasting tape for archives, but we're still relying on them, right? Things can still go wrong.
Absolutely. While the convenience is amazing, you're delegating control. And there have been, well-documented outages, big cloud providers having services go down, sometimes for hours. Imagine that happening right when you desperately need a specific file.
Yeah, that would be frustrating, to say the least.
So the takeaway with cloud is it's a fantastic tool, great for accessibility and often for backup too. But maybe, just maybe, don't make it your only copy of something irreplaceable.
A belt-and-suspenders approach is probably wise.
Always, with critical data.
Okay, so wrapping this part up, we've seen huge variations, theoretical lifespans of decades, practical lifespans often much shorter due to mechanics or wear. We've seen environment heat, humidity, light playing a massive role. And we even touch on things like legal requirements, keeping financial records for 7 years in the UK, medical records for 25 years. That forces a certain perspective on long term. It's clear long lifespan means very different things depending on the medium and the context.
It's entirely relative. And, your data in the cloud could theoretically outlive you, assuming the service keeps running and your account stays active, paid for.
That's a slightly morbid thought.
Maybe. But the really crucial point, the universal truth across all these media, HDD, SSD, DVD, cloud, tape, whatever comes next, is that you need to check it periodically. Can you still access the files? Can you actually open them and see the data? That proactive verification, that's the real secret to data longevity. Don't just set and forget.
Check your backups, check your archives. Don't assume.
Exactly. Assumption is the enemy of data preservation.
So thinking about everything we've just discussed, what's the biggest thing that stands out to you? For me, it's how active this process needs to be. It's not just about the tech, but the environment, the usage, and constantly checking.
I agree. It's not passive storage. It requires active management. Which leads me to a final thought, maybe something for listeners to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
Given that these lifespans vary so much and that active checking is so vital, what if we shifted our mindset? Instead of just thinking about backing up data, what if we started thinking about data curation, actively managing and migrating our important digital legacy over time, ensuring it remains accessible for the future, whether that's for the next generation or just, for your important meeting next week? How does framing it as curation change how you approach it? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please feel free to click on the link in the description below to discover more podcasts.